When you can go touch the shoulder of someone successful and you choose not to listen to them, you're a goddamn fool. When you have a person you personally know, I hate when people are like, yo, my friend, he got mad money. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Why you don't listen to your friend? Oh, I know a person that runs my job. Why you don't listen to your boss? Why you don't learn? Why don't I ask him like, yo, can you be my mentor? Why do I ask him, can you be my mentor? Why people are inferior to learn from people that are more successful when you don't realize that you're not successful because you haven't learned how to be successful. Successful people speak a language that unsuccessful people don't speak. Unsuccessful speak on what are they gonna do on the weekend. Successful people are planning out their whole 10-year plan and window on how to be greater. The unsuccessful, you know what they're saying? Yo, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be like this, on the weekend I'm gonna do this. They're already spending resources they ain't even got. How many people know right now, and let's talking truthfully, how many people you know right now that's planning on spending their check and they ain't even got it yet?
Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Today's episode is a generation of losers. And the reason why we're talking about that today, because I see the generation has definitely, they're falling behind. A lot of people like to gloat about how educated they are, but people don't talk about how foolish this new generation is. A lot of them are very, very foolish. Fathers and mothers, I'm talking to you. Making the tablets raise your children to creating very slow children. Let me say that again. These tablets that's raising your children are actually making them slow. Common sense ain't common no more. These kids have no form of common sense because all you do is put a tablet in front of them and make them sit there and watch video games. All they see is bright colors. There is no more human-to-human interaction. There are people who are the illest people on earth behind closed doors in a room behind a computer, but they're scared to death to interact with people in the real world. There are people who are scared to death to say hi to the person they lusting over. They'll stalk them cyberly, but scared to say hi to them physically. Yo, this is the nuance of generations, and it's sad because it's so many different humans that are like this. They lack human-to-human interactional skills to the point where we actually losing a whole nuance of young people because they're so caught up in social media. They're so caught up in internet. There are some people that they've never approached a human and try to talk to them, whether male or female. Some people have no social skills. They don't even have the ability to read something called the room. They don't even have the ability to read a goddamn room. When you sit in a room, some people can't see like, yo, this conversation ain't made for this time and the place. This is not the time nor the place to be having this conversation, but some people, they can't even see it. Because these people, they lack regular day-to-day skills. And the sad part is if you have a conversation with these people speak from other people's experiences and they don't have experiences, but yet and still they're ones that want to give advice. They lack consciousness. Think about this statement. This person has no experiences in this, but they're giving advice. Why the hell would I go to somebody that don't get no girls giving me relationship advice? Why the hell would I go to somebody who's broke asking for financial advice? Why the hell would I go to someone who don't have children to ask them how to be a parent? Why the hell would I talk to a renter about being a homeowner? Why would I talk to an employee about being an employer? Why the hell would I talk to a consumer about how to be a goddamn retailer? I'm going to go to the people that fit those criteria in order for me to learn how to be that criteria that I want to be. But it seems like today, this generation of losers is the mentality that you're seeing so far pushed. There are people online screaming to the top of the mountain about real estate portfolios they don't even have. There are people online right now telling you how to be in a relationship and they've never been in a relationship. This is what we're doing. This is what we're pushing. This is the culture today. We're in a bad space psychologically. And the issue with that is you're teaching the next generation to be every bit of what was before. And they're not breaking anything to stop their mentality. Guys, you got to make your children speak. I went past a guy the other day. His son didn't speak to me. You know what the guy said to me? You know he's shy. I said, if I was shy, my mother would have beat the shyness out of me. Let me say that again. If I was shy, my mother would have beat the shyness out of me. Anytime an adult passed me, I had to speak automatically. And if I didn't speak, I was getting my behind boxed. But the issue is now you don't have to speak. Why? Because you say your child is shy. Creating a mentality where the person feels like they don't have to speak to the adults because of the fact that the adult is giving them a escape. No, you make that child speak up. Because again, if you keep a child in a child's place, you ain't gonna have to raise them twice. The issue is nowadays you're seeing parents have to raise children twice because they did a bad job the first time. So when you see that woman taking care of that man, that's the messed up mother that didn't take care of her son. When you see that man having to take care of that messed up girl, that's the man that has to take up the slack for the father that didn't raise her. That's all you're seeing in today's society. Humans have to take up jobs for jobs that people should have already done. You're cleaning up a mess you didn't cause. You're dating someone with trauma that you didn't even create. You're involving yourself with people who have issues that you played no part in doing. You're aggressive as hell, you're angry as hell, and it has nothing to do with me. Your problem is not the world, it's yourself. Because a lot of times in order to project from the internal, we gotta look internally so we can see what's wrong with us internally so we can project externally. So sometimes when you see people talk negative all the time, it's about how they feel about their goddamn self. When you see people always talking about negative things, it's about how they feel about their goddamn self. A lot of people do not like themselves, and they want you to feel exactly like them. I hate the term projection because a person can't project on me when they don't have the receipts like I have. A person can't make me feel when they haven't done anything. We're just talking logical. I must be honest with you, I'm a very humble person, but I've done a lot of dope things in my life. I've done a lot of dope things. And when I speak with an extreme level of logic. To the point where if you put me in a room with people that are professional, they're gonna say, son, know what he's talking about. And he actually has done things that actually warrants for him to talk. But social media has created a mouthpiece for people to speak on things they've never done. This is scary as hell, man. You got a person who has a nursing degree telling you about psychology. You got a person who has the mathematical degree telling you about history. This is how crazy it sounds. I'm gonna go on record and say this, and somebody's gonna get offended, but I can fight, I don't care. Most educated people aren't that smart. Let me say that again. Most educated people aren't that smart. That mean they can follow a curriculum. That's all it means. Educated people, when they graduate with degrees, it means they can complete a curriculum. That's all it means. It don't mean they're smart. Because I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of those educated people, they work for people who have high school equivalency. And I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of those people who have master's degrees and all these big degrees, they work for people who don't have the same educational degrees. Are certificates. And those people that don't have the degrees, they tend to be more outside the box. A lot of times when people get degrees, they become very, 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 very controlled. They think very controlled. They think like an employee. They don't understand anything outside of their little circle, their mentality. It's get a job, work the job, stay on the job, be on the job, and brag about the job. You ever see that person, you go to work, they be like, yo, we just got a new refrigerator? We ain't got no goddamn refrigerator, that's their refrigerator. You ever see somebody that take their 9 to 5 more serious than they take their goddamn after they 9 to 5? When you know that your 9 to 5 is never gonna make you rich? I think that's crazy as hell. When you take your 9 to 5 more serious than you're willing to take the actual things that you're doing outside of your 9 to 5. Your mother and father first cousins. Cause you a little slow, fam. It don't make no damn sense. Why the hell would I take my 9 to 5 more serious than what I'm taking for that's gonna make me rich? My 9 to 5 is only gonna give me stability. But this is the generation of losers. What is the loser? The loser is the one who looks for somebody to always point the finger at rather than looking at themselves. Most people are heavy on the lack of accountability, but heavy on the blaming everybody else. People are ashamed to look in the mirror because they're ashamed at what they're gonna see. And the sad part about when you look in that mirror, you're gonna see exactly what you should be seeing, your goddamn self. But again, if you avoid that mirror for so long, you don't realize how you truly look. A heavy person could think they skinny if they pass the mirror by not looking at it every time. A fat person could think they're skinny if they keep running past the mirror. Let me say that one more time. A fat person can run, if they keep running past the mirror, they won't see how much weight they've gained. A person that's not that smart can sound super intelligent around a bunch of fools. A broke person could look rich by putting on expensive things and hanging out with people who lack the resources more than him or her. We had a conversation the other day. I told a lady that most people tend to use resources to look like they're in better positions than they actually are. And the sad part about pretending, you never become. That's what people don't understand in this generation of losing mentality. The more you pretend to be successful, the more you won't be successful. I know people who have absolutely nothing going on, hate their lives, but still think they somebody. I thought happiness comes with success, and clearly you're not happy, so that means you ain't that successful. Yeah, tell me.
So there's been a study at the beginning of 2026. Neuroscientists reveal that Gen Z is the first generation in history to be less intelligent than their parents. And this is due to over-reliance of digital technology.
And you know what? I genuinely believe it, because when you look at it, a lot of times people go get information from people that fit what they believe. And the issue is this. When you not being challenged on your thoughts become like facts. And a lot of times when people fact check, their facts are coming from people who are online with an opinion. These people that are online with an opinion becomes your mentality. Like, say for instance, if I say right now that McDonald's is the healthiest fast food, there is somebody online that's going to subscribe to that. And if I push it enough and it hit the right ears, it becomes louder to the point where people think that, McDonald's is healthy as hell. Why? Because again, it's being said and then it's being spewed. Most people learn by hearing and not researching. Most information is transferred by conversation and conversing. Most people do not do the research on the conversations they actually have. When you start fact checking the people that you have in conversations with, then you're starting to educate yourself. That's the issue with educating yourself. It's about, are you willing to actually take yourself out your little 5-block radius mentality and actually challenge yourself to learn something new? Most people fear learning. Most people fear being challenged. And when you challenge them, I'm gonna go on the record, I'm gonna say this. This generation now is so cooked that everything any responsibility you give them, they gotta find something to complain about. That's how cooked this generation is. The other day, I ain't gonna hold you, my son said to me, I'm tired. I said, then I must be dead. That's how tired I am every day. I said, I don't know what sleep even feels like, bro. I grind and I grind and I grind. Because I'm gonna tell you something, when I'm going, I don't wanna look back and say what I shoulda, woulda, coulda did. Because I'm gonna tell you something, there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna go to their grave, wish God that they gave themselves a better chance at life. There are people who are in bad situations right now and they dragging their feet. So the reality is the situation is based on what you put yourself in. And you don't want to blame yourself, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna blame society. You're gonna blame everybody other than yourself. Where's the accountability? As an adult, the one thing you're supposed to become is very accountable. Life, when you want much of nothing, life is easy. But when you really want real things, it comes with consequences, sacrificing, discipline, consistency, losing sleep. That's what success comes with. So if a person don't understand that, I mean, you're never gonna be a goddamn winner. Because you've been so long programmed to fail that you think that you're gonna win by doing failure things. Look at that, man. You have to be a sick person to believe that you can be the person that's losing in the classroom, but you're gonna have the highest grade point average. How much of a fool you gotta be? This is this new generation. They want the results without the work. Instant gratification. Microwave mentality. They don't want to do the work. And this is the problem. And then they get envious of people that are actually doing the work. Please don't watch the end result. Watch the struggles of the beginning. Please don't watch the end result. Start watching people's struggles of their beginning. Learn what they've been to get to where they are. So therefore, guess what? When you get on your road, you'll know the map on how to get there. That's the best part about people that leave receipts. Success leaves trails that only fools won't follow. Success leaves trails that only fools won't follow. The other day, the guy told me that Jewish people are cheap. And I said, do they got money? He said, yes. I said, why you think I'm cheap? I follow the success. If they laid a whole goddamn plan on how to be successful. Only a fool gonna argue with that. Only a fool gonna argue with that. Because you know why? There's so many people in this world that's so narcissistic, they believe that they're gonna be the exception to the rule. You know how crazy you gotta be to believe that you're gonna be the person that's gonna be the person without doing the work that that person that became that person did? Y'all ain't hear that. Kizzy, you ain't hear that, Kizzy. You believe you're gonna be that person, right? Without doing the work that that person did, but you believe you're gonna be that person. Your mother and father related. Yeah, your mother and father related, right? Somebody said, I'm very disrespectful. And I'll be honest with you, I don't respect this little entitled, nasty, lazy, always looking for a handout generation. They have no work ethic, inconsistent. Ask anybody in my life right now that has a position of power or authority at their job, please call in right now and explain how entitled this generation is. They're lazy as hell, inconsistent, always want something, always want the easy way through life. These guys that have $3 in their pocket on a vacation, on a whole vacation. You got $3 in your pocket, you on a vacation. This is this new generation. $100 and you talking about you want a relationship. This new generation is cooked. They're cooked. They're cooked. And I feel bad for them. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it came from my generation and the generation before. Because it always gets worse. If you notice, anybody that's from the hood, let's be honest. When you go to the hood kids are worse than they was when I was growing up. And the generation before that, my generation was worse than them. And the generation before that was actually worse. Let's say it's 5 generations. It started off with easier and it got harder and it got harder and it got harder and it got harder. Why? It's because they're there long enough. They evolve. Every problem evolves. If you don't fix anything, it gets worse. And by you leaving things at what it is, it only got worse. And now you're dealing with worse and worse and worse people. And this is where you see this entitled mentality, where people believe that my mom, I can go spend the money and my mom got bills, but guess what? I don't care. And I'm like, you have the nerve to be lazy when your mom been killing herself all these years, always taking days off. And now call in with that. I want you to call in and explain that. I've seen this 1,000 times. The people that are broke is always complaining. Always complaining. Oh, you ain't got nothing. Damn, your struggle should make you motivated. Your struggle should motivate you. There are people that say, yo, the other day I told my guys, I said, yo, we are a talented group. Yes, I agree. But yet and still there are people that are way more talented. And the only way we gonna beat them is by outworking them. Period. Everybody got a podcast. But again, the only way is consistency, discipline, and actually bringing that heat. I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not creating no foolish content. I create content that actually makes sense and that's actually trying to solve the issue within the culture. Most people are sitting there trying to create more of a problem that's actually igniting the problem even more. I'm trying to diffuse it. I'm trying to put the fire out. But again, I'm going to be the problem because of the fact that I'm here to try to actually help to prevent the continuation of the problem. But we're going to let it keep spreading. We're going to let it keep spreading. And then when you say something, it's like, why do you care? I care because I refuse to be fake like the people that don't care. I care because I refuse to be fake like the people that don't care. I care about my culture. I'm a very proud person. And at the end of the day, you can't fault everybody because some people don't know no better. And the sad part is they do know better, they don't do no better, something wrong with them. Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. One more time, 516-253-1150. Go ahead, Tyler.
I think this generation messed up with the word manifesting, not realizing like everybody, they say, I'm going to manifest millions, I'm going to manifest a good life, but manifesting means work, actually put it into work and doing the steps every single day to get to your goals. So how do you feel about that?
They're going to manifestate themselves to be bums. And the reason why I say that is because they sit down and just sit there waiting for something to happen. That's like eating from a garden that you've never planted. You're waiting all year to eat vegetables or fruits from a garden that you've never planted, but you believe that something magically is going to sprout from the ground. That's how crazy this new generation is. Everybody's doing the same old two-step. Everybody's a goddamn content creator. Everybody's a goddamn influencer. Everybody's a goddamn clothing line. The other day I told a story. I had a kid come to me. He asked me to buy a shirt from him. He actually creates merchandise, and I respect it because I do try to support my fellow entrepreneurs, right? So I told him, I said, don't quit your day job until your business could actually pay you. And make sure when I say pay you, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go into something real fast. Stop quitting your jobs when you don't have medical insurance. Stop quitting your jobs when you don't have no 401k or no pensions. A lot of you guys are quitting jobs and making just enough money to survive. So yes, you might have a 9 to 5. Yes, you might be an entrepreneur, but you're a broke, struggling entrepreneur. Because if you look at the things that you tangibly don't have, meaning medical insurance, right? Eyeglass or eye care, right? These are the things you don't have no PTA. You have no dental. So a lot of times I tell these people, don't quit your job until your new entrepreneurship can actually give you the actual lifestyle that you can sustain. But a lot of people be like, I'm quitting my job. You make $2,000 a month. But reality is you're neglecting the fact that you're not putting anything into your retirement. So let's just say hypothetically you're 30 years old and you're running on his business till 45. That's 15 years that you worked on it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, but you actually lost a lot of time because you didn't put anything for your retirement. I talk to a lot of barbers a lot of time and beauticians. For my barbers and beauticians, a lot of y'all gloat and brag about how much money y'all make on the side, but a lot of y'all don't have 401ks. A lot of y'all have no retirement plans. A lot of y'all have no pensions, and a lot of y'all have no medical insurance. So reality is you actually further behind. And the sad part is they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money, and the sad part is they still not gonna say to themselves, like, you know what? I make a lot of money. I make a lot of money, and I need to be responsible with my money. Because if you give money to a person that's not responsible, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna be irresponsible. And this is the culture we need to work on now. Today's society is all about looking like we're successful. This generation is so cooked. They're overcooked. And why I say that is because, for one, they can't even take constructive criticism. One rule of success is being able to take constructive criticism. Constructive, right? When I say we having a construction site, that means it's under development. It's being built. So if a person can't take constructive criticism, how do they grow? If a person can't take constructive criticism, how do they grow when everyone should see themselves as a construction site, meaning they can break a level down and build a level up? But you should never be a complete project. No human should ever be a complete project. And the humans that contend, they say, I'm complete, I know who I am, you're lying. That is probably the most insecure person on earth, because I'm gonna tell you something, most foolish people, they hate when you challenge their mentalities. They hate it. Successful people actually love great conversations that actually challenge thoughts, especially when you're adding value to a conversation. Unsuccessful people hate people that actually talk over their head to the point where if I don't know this, I don't wanna learn this. And they hate your accomplishments because it only shows you what you haven't done yet. And then again, you're envious of someone that you could actually meet and someone you can learn. When you can go touch the shoulder of someone successful and you choose not to listen to them, you're a goddamn fool. When you have a person you personally know, I hate when people are like, yo, my friend, he got mad money. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Why you don't listen to your friend? Oh, I know a person that runs my job. Why you don't listen to your boss? Why you don't learn? Why don't I ask him like, yo, can you be my mentor? Why do I ask him, can you be my mentor? Why people are inferior to learn from people that are more successful when you don't realize that you're not successful because you haven't learned how to be successful. Successful people speak a language that unsuccessful people don't speak. Unsuccessful speak on what are they gonna do on the weekend. Successful people are planning out their whole 10-year plan and window on how to be greater. The unsuccessful, you know what they're saying? Yo, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be like this, on the weekend I'm gonna do this. They're already spending resources they ain't even got. How many people know right now, and let's talking truthfully, how many people you know right now that's planning on spending their check and they ain't even got it yet? They ain't even got their goddamn check, they already spent it. They planning on what they're gonna do and how it's gonna make them look and how it's gonna make them feel. When you learn how to remove yourself from the material things about how it makes you feel, you'll start realizing that you weren't feeling. You was actually putting a Band-Aid on a problem that needed surgery. And let me say that one more time. When you learn that those material things that you worship and you eliminate that, you'll realize it's only a temporary fix for a greater problem. A greater problem. Go ahead, Tyler.
I think that most unsuccessful people, they have the me first mentality, and that's why they're not successful. So instead of being humble and not having an ego, it's like a competition. But the people who are successful, they learn from other successful individuals. So I think the ones who aren't successful, they got to change that me first mentality. They got to be at the one who made it first. In reality, they last.
If you look at I told you my favorite line in hip hop is, what was my favorite line? Let me see if you know.
By Beanie Siegel, I'm not the captain of the yacht, but I'm on a boat.
That is my favorite line, and the reason why I love it, because if you look at it right now, I have a team of guys that y'all don't see. Y'all see me sitting on this live. Y'all don't see my team sitting in here, right? And you don't see the person behind the board. You don't see the person sending notes. You don't see all of this information. All you see is me. So again, a person might view me as, okay, let's say hypothetically, Kenzie, I am the captain. But if the captain is making $20 million a year, it's a trickle down no matter how you slice it. So if the person is able to add value to the point where this person is making $20 million a year, what do you think you're gonna make by being a part of the situation? See, the problem is when you have people that don't wanna do their job that they're good at, that's when you have a problem with your team. Everybody in my team actually serves a purpose, but when a person is complaining about the purpose that they serve, now you have a problem. You have a problem because I know what my job is and I know what my role is, and I do my role effective and efficiently, and I don't complain. I done got on this live in this podcast, and y'all don't even see from being sleep deprived and jumped on a podcast from coming in at 5 a.m. and shooting after going to work and doing all of these things. No one sees it because, again, it is not my job to look like I'm tired. My job is to produce. Sleep is for the wealthy. That's a hobby for the rich. But when you broke, you shouldn't be crying about no sleep. You might be sleeping too goddamn much. And that's why you're so goddamn tired. I can move over 4 hours of sleep. And I can do that for 7 days a week. Right? Because again, when you have goals, your goals should not be set aside for the fact that you're tiredness. Your purpose should keep you awake. Your purpose should keep you awake. So if you sitting there talking about how you tired, how you beat, how you done, oh, my life is this, my life is that, man, you already lost. Because all you're doing is casting spells over your life. Yo, you can tell did you see the interview that Cat Williams did? When he said basically how if you constantly keep reminding yourself or saying something to yourself, you'll start believing it. You tell yourself you're sick, you start believing you're sick. You tell yourself you're hungry, you start believing you're hungry. And again, it's because you start telling yourself things. That's how powerful the human brain is. A human can literally make themselves believe that they're great and become great because they believe that they're great. And a human could believe that they're a loser even though they were meant to be great. There are people who are meant to be great, but they chose the loser mentality, therefore never become great because they chose a loser's mentality. Because I'm going to tell you something, every winner, and I say this with conviction, every winner is a loser that never stopped. Every single winner that you see is a loser that never stopped. Every winner you see is a loser that never quit. Every winner you see is a loser that never gave up. Every winner you see is a loser that just kept going. Because every time you look at that person that looks like they winning, believe you at one point that person was a loser. They learned how to lose, and they didn't accept their losing. They decided to keep getting up. The greatest fighter is the fighter that got back up. Because if you got knocked down and you stayed down, that means it was meant for you to lose. But there are people that learn how they lost and they learned from it. That is the greatest mindset. Being able to recover. Because I tell people it's not about if you can fight, it's about who the hell you fought. Because you can't tell me you can fight when you ain't fighting nobody. Everybody can look like a great fighter when they fighting nobody. Everybody can look rich when they're around poor people. Everybody can look like they tough when they're around a bunch of people that don't want nothing and ignorant. It is different when you go around ignorant people and you decide to be the light amongst the darkness. It is different to be around an ignorant group and decide consciously to be the light in a room full of dark people. I'm not going to entertain this mentality. The ideology that y'all projecting on me, I rebuke it. I refuse that loser spirit. I refuse that quitter spirit. I refuse the excuse spirit. I rebuke it. I never accepted losing. I accepted I'm going to learn from this loss and I'm going to see where I went wrong, so therefore I won't do it again. The one thing I tell you, and I'm being honest with you, most people that you see that fail, they give up too much. Most people that you see that fail, they give up too much. They give up. They give up. Because when you set a time stamp on a reservation on when you want something, God will say, this ain't for you yet. You ain't ready. You ain't ready, grasshopper. Imagine walking into a store with your parents and you tell them, I want this now. You know what your parents gonna say? Man, you don't get out of my face. So if you go to God and say, give it to me now, what you think he gonna say? You don't get out of my girl, you don't get out of my face. Boy, you don't get out of my face. You don't get out of my goddamn face. Who are you? I don't think you're ready for it yet. Any parent on my live right now, imagine giving your kid a car at the age of 12. Would you do that? That's how God sees some of y'all with y'all dreams. It's premature. It's not ready. You ain't put enough work yet. You didn't prove that you're worthy. This generation we live in right now is the most inconsistent generation I've ever seen in my life. They lie to themselves. Because in order to survive, you have to create the lie and believe the lie so therefore you can survive in the lie. That's delusion. You have to believe your lie for you to stay in it. For you to believe this, that's why you do it. And we make an excuse for the behavior to the point that we allow ourselves to continue the poor mentality. Our generation is so cooked, guys. Generation is cooked. They're cooked. And then when you have these conversations, people get offended of truth. And why they get offended? Because they don't want to hear truth. When you avoid truth, you ultimately drive to the lie. And the sad part is you start building your home on a lie. And while you're building your home on a lie, guess what? It's sinking, and you don't even realize why you're sinking because you built your house on sand. You build your home on quicksand. And then you're like, why is the dream failing? Because you didn't build it with a strong foundation. You didn't get the right people and the right tools and the right blueprint to build it. I sit down with some of these young people, and it's so disheartening when you talk to them because they have the potential, but they have the mentality that stops the potential to be what they want. But yet and still they believe that they're going to still have what they want. And this is why so many people will never get to levels. I realize that there are people who say absolutely nothing, but they do much and they win. And there are people that tell you what they want, but they don't say it with their actions. It don't match. I meet people every day who will tell you what they want from life and their actions do not match it. I'm like, you are the most laziest person I've ever met in my life. And you know the scary part is, those lazy people, they believe that they do so much. That's the scary part. I'm being honest with you guys. The scary part is the lazy people always think they do so much. One person is a lazy person that thinks they do so much, and the second person is the person who don't do anything but always got an excuse of why they can't do it. They will give themselves every single reasoning to why they couldn't, when they couldn't, how they couldn't, where they couldn't. I'm with this and I gotta do this and like that's why you lose. Okay.
And then there's a third person who's working hard but feel like they ain't do enough yet.
And that's the person that will be successful. Because I'm gonna tell you something. The scariest thing about a person that's successful or chasing success, most of them don't celebrate the success no long enough, so they don't even realize they ain't even successful. They constantly working. But the person that's not successful, it's like going on a highway. And you know how you have like a lot of rest stops? The unsuccessful stopped at a rest stop and they stayed there so long and they got comfortable. But yet and still they think they're doing good because they're the leaders of that rest stop. But there's people that kept driving. And again, that person that kept driving is the person that's ultimately going to get to the prize. But then the person that stopped at the rest stop, they're going to envy the person that kept going. When you can find an excuse to lose, you should find 1,000 more to win. When you can't find 1,000 reasons to win, what is your why? Every day I ask myself, what is my why? And your why has to be bigger than you. Because I genuinely believe if your dream isn't bigger than you, God won't make it big enough for you. And the reason why he won't make it big enough for you, because all it is about you. You want a big house because you want to flex. You want a big car so you want to flex. So why you think all those people that wanted a big car so they want to flex, why you think their cars keep getting repoed?
What they do?
I'm going to say that again. All those people that got them cars that want to flex and show off, they always get their cars repossessed. Because a true person that could afford it, he ain't buying it to show off with it. He got it or she got it because they could afford it. But the fact of the matter is when you buy something with the intentions on trying to impress somebody else, you already failed. Because you're no longer living for yourself. A lot of us need to stop living for others. I believe this generation lives for each other so much that they don't realize that social media has created mentalities that are actually hurting them. to the point where they can't see that this is the reasoning for their levels of failure. We have the most educated, broke generation I've ever seen in my life. They have the longest tenures of staying with their parents in the history of the U.S. You got 30, 40-year-old men, 25, 30, 35, 40-year-old men still living at their mother's house and broke as hell. Broke as hell. And they have no sense of urgency on doing anything to change their positioning. And I'm going to tell you on record, I don't knock somebody that live at their parents' house that's doing the right thing. But I do knock a person that's at their parents' house that are comfortable, lazy, and complacent, and they have nothing to show for their existence. When your book ends, it's gonna say, your name, over. Damn. 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 That's a sad book, bro. It says, your name, ending. The end. That's a bad book. Because you did nothing to fill in the chapters, right? It's like life is like a big puzzle and you gotta find the pieces. The pieces is not in a box sitting there waiting for you. Life is a big puzzle and you gotta find all the pieces and put it together. There might be a person that you need to find along your journey that give you certain levels of wisdom that can teach you certain aspects of life. There might be another person that can show you and direct you that way. There might be another person that actually come into your life and add value, meaning they actually do a part of the mission to get it done. This is how you build a situation. Every time I meet people that say, I have a business, I'm like, why don't you find people that believe in your vision and actually make them do roles and delegate them to do roles and y'all share ownership of it? It will grow faster. Sweat equity. But it seems like everybody wants to be the one. Like if you go to a small town, right? And I want y'all to look at this. Imagine going to a small town. I'm gonna use my small town. There are 1,000 rappers. But imagine if all of them was wise enough to say, hey, let's put all our money behind this one rapper, right? And put all our money in this person. That person is more likely to what? Blow up or get some level of notoriety. Everybody put their resources behind this person. But the issue is you whack, he whack, he whack. Everybody whack. And there's this one talented dude who got the least amount of resources and everybody else is whack. And everybody, they're not going to look at him or her, right? It's like a clothing line. You go to another small area. Everybody has a clothing line, right? And then no one builds anything because you sell your 5 shirts to your friends, and after the 5 shirts are sold to your friends, that's it. That's it. Because you never really had a game plan. Life is about creating a game plan and executing a game plan to win. If you have no game plan, because again, they say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Let me say that again. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And a lot of people are failing to plan because, again, you're seeing a generation of people. Look at the rates they say about retirement. More people will less likely be able to afford to retire. And then you have people who don't believe that we need each other to build. This is a major dilemma, guys. This is a major dilemma. Someone said my daughter had 3 options: full-time job, college, and military. She made a choice. She's doing well in life, has an LLC. I market her product. That's what's up. That's what's up. Like I said, me personally, I would still send her to school for business. I would still send her to school for business because you can't tell me the end-all be-all is not knowing more about school. The problem is about people, like for instance, I still like to do seminars. I still like to do online classes and learn a lot of things. Why do I like to do it? Because I like to continue to educate myself. There's something you can learn every day. There's a nuance, right? A lot of people need to learn how to master this AI. And whatever you're good at, you should be utilizing your skill to add value in whatever you're doing. If a person, I'm saying this to my team right now, if I have a person on the team who don't see what they're gifted at and they don't do their job to the best of their ability, all you're doing is hurting the situation. And you're selfish as hell. It's selfish as hell to say to myself, I'm gifted at this, but I'm not gonna give my all to it because of the fact that I'm selfish. That is selfish. Imagine if I had that mentality. We wouldn't even be where we are today. We wouldn't even be half of where we are today. I do everything to the best of my ability because my team suffers if I don't. And that's how everyone should think as a teammate. I don't believe there's a captain, but guess what? A captain ain't nothing without their goddamn team. Nothing. I don't care who you want to be. Michael Jordan ain't nothing without the Bulls and Pippen. Nothing. He definitely ain't nothing without Phil Jackson. So we calling stats what it is. We've seen what LeBron can't do without a team. He can't win. Everybody has to have a team and understand that my role is efficient and effective. I'm gonna show y'all something. Look at this ideology. You go into a supermarket right now, you're about to go food shopping. When you walk in the store, you realize there's no shopping carts. At that moment, you respect the shopping cart kid or the shopping cart girl. You respect them because at that moment, you went there to go food shopping. You probably spent $400 worth of food, but you realized that you couldn't because you only could carry what your hands could carry. At that moment, now you respect the guy or the woman that brought in the shopping carts. That's how every system has to work. That little job that you saw right now, you just bring it in the carts. Without that person, they're gonna miss out on a lot of money because the average person cannot carry $400 worth of groceries in their goddamn hands. This is how important the team is. And this is what the world don't see right now is we need to realize that we got to get back to teamship. If your family is not working together, guess what? Your family is failing. I say at least 90-something% of families that don't work together is financially losing. They're struggling. Because we got problems that our parents probably had or our aunts had or we had when we was kids. It's retarded. It doesn't make sense. This is the generation of losers. This is the generation of losers. We fighting a situation we're supposed to be working together on. Everyone wants to take the last shot. But my question is, when you take that last shot, are you willing to be scrutinized when you miss it? Are you willing to be judged when you miss that shot? Are you willing for them to laugh at you when things don't go the way you want? Are you willing to lick your wounds when the world wants you to fail? Are you willing to deal with that? Because a lot of people are great when things look good, but when things ain't looking good, are you willing to figure out how to make it look good again? How to get our team back on course and start winning again? A lot of people don't like that. They don't like that. That's when you start realizing either you're a man or you're a coward. I got a guy on the team right now, and I'm going to say this. I brought him on the team because I love his leadership. I feel like lately he's been reserved with it, but I had to have a talk with him. And the reason why I did it is because he lights a fire in me that I already have, but it keeps me on course. So one day I said to him, I said, yo, bro, I don't know where you've been, but you need to go find him again. He looked at me like, I'm like, nah, I know who you are. I know what you're meant to be. I know I've known you longer than you knew yourself. And I'm telling you, the only person I can go find that person is you. Everyone that walks earth has this child in them that if you reignite that fire with that goddamn child, that child can bring you to the gates of success. Every time a person loses motivation is because they lost their inner child who keeps them motivated. Every person you see that's a loser is because they accepted losing as an adult. It's not their inner child. The child believed that they could fly. Remember when you was a kid, you think you couldn't get hurt. Because again, it's the inner child that we have to keep finding that person and keep talking to him. Because he's gonna listen, I know some people right now who are 55 years old and they get up before people that's 25 and they grind harder than them. Because that inner child in them still believe they got more work to do. But if there was that old person, they'd be like, oh, I gotta get out of my bed. I'm tired of the world. So if you're so tired, won't you do something to make an impact on it that you ain't gotta do what you're doing anymore? You hate your job so much, won't you do something that gets you off the job? If you hate your job so much, why don't you do something that makes you not gotta look at that job no more? You become the job. Why don't you become the job? When you start talking like that, now we're having a different conversation. I tell every man and every woman, you are the boss of your life. The Q the Boss brand is about you being the boss. Every person is their own boss. But a lot of y'all still thinking like workers. Because when I say a boss is one who controls their life. I don't care because you go to a job, you're still a boss. Because you still have to control your own life. You can't be controlled and think you're a boss. When you go to your job, you go get your resources. Your first investor is your job. Your first investor in your dream is your job. I don't think y'all understand that. Let me say that one more time. Your first investor in your dream is your job. Because they're giving you resources for you to start adding value to something else. That one thing about a job, when they give you a check, it can't tell you what to do with it. Let me say that again. Once you work hours for your check, the job can't tell you what to do with the money that you get from the check. What makes you the boss is when you decide to do what's right with the money from the goddamn check. That's how you start leveling up your life. That's how you start changing your positioning. The one thing you got to understand is nothing happens overnight, but it will happen one night. Nothing in life happens overnight, but it's going to happen one night. And the crazy thing about going to success, you start seeing little affirmations on your journey. You start seeing little confirmation that's showing you going the right way. Again, back to the highway analogy. Imagine driving from New York to California. One day you see 10,000 miles California. Then one day you see California 5,000 miles. Then you see 2,000 miles. Then you see 1,000 miles. Then you see 100 miles away. And next thing you know, you see welcome to California. That's how success operates. You'll get affirmations on your journey to know that you're going the right way. And the problem is a lot of people aren't going the right way because they don't accept direction from anyone other than themselves. How are you driving somewhere you've never been? How are you going to a place without getting the route and the direction from someone that's already there? This is the importance of mentorship. Our culture right now is so warped with reality and delusion that we are sitting here on a bowl of delusion and don't realize that our culture is so delusional. You got the mentality of a toddler and believe that you're an adult. Have the mentality of a toddler and believe that you're an adult. You believe you're gonna win doing loser things. I got people, and I'm gonna get them mad because I like talking crap. There are a lot of people that smoke every single day. They smoke their weed every day. And they be like, I'm gonna be rich. You're 40 years old and still broke, still smoking, and you still believe you're gonna be rich. You gotta be slow. You gotta be slow. And again, in order for them to continue the behavior, they have to believe that it's not the marijuana. They just ain't got the right time yet. Your time is running out, brother. You on a clock. The average life expectancy is 76. If you're 40 years old and the average life is 76, do the math. You're 36 years away from reaching a realm where most men pass away. Or most women is probably 79, 80. I think women let's give 80, women 80. So if a woman is 40, she's 40 years away. She's halfway through. But just because you are on the clock don't mean you gotta stop. Because I'm gonna tell you something, until they blow that whistle, I ain't stopping. I ain't stopping. You ever see somebody running a race and all of a sudden they slow down towards the finish line and somebody pass them and win? Because you're supposed to run all the way through the tape. You're supposed to all the way through to the finish line. Non-stop. And that's what we gotta get back on. This new generation gotta wake up. And the sad part is the generation of crash outs, the generation of delusion, generation of foolishness. And the sad part is it's actually pouring over to older generations too. Because I see older people the same way. I see grown men with the Pooh Shiesty mask on. Yo, and they pull it down and you see nothing but gray beard. I'm like, you look crazy as hell. Pants sagging. Right? And then the women, the older women, y'all in competition with the young girls. And a lot of y'all trying to keep up with the young girls. The lady said, I'm not. Then why are we wearing so much makeup? Makeup is to make you look what? To make you look younger. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's embrace who we are and fix ourselves at where we are and develop ourselves to be better people. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you love the internal, it is sexier to love your internal than it is to love your external. Because the internal is how you project on the external. A lot of people look good, but they ugly personality because they never worked on their internal. There are a lot of very attractive people that are very ugly. Very, very ugly because they've never worked on themselves. All they can do is see everything around them other than themselves. It's sad when someone can't smell themselves and they stink. It's sad when someone can't hear themselves and they sound foolish. It's sad when someone can't see themselves when they're doing everything wrong. It's sad because you made accommodations for all your behavior and you've never looked at yourself. A lot of people need to look in that mirror again. Stop avoiding it. Stop running from the problem and learn that you are the problem. And sometimes when we complain about other people, you accepted these people. That's why these people are the way they are. So you're the problem. Go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say that it's crazy because back in I know I grew up with my grandma. She was always in the house all the time. I live with my grandma. Most people did, but I feel like this generation is no essence of that guardian kind of figure who really watched and made sure things was okay. You know, you got your mom there, but when you had your grandma in there with your grandma was holding your mother accountable so that she could hold the kids accountable. So I think that's really what's changed within the culture.
You know why, right? Because your grandmother accepted being a grandmother because she already made right with her God. So she didn't mind getting older. She knew it was a blessing getting older, and also she made right with her God. So she knew what she was going after this place. There are a lot of people who don't want to get older because they haven't made right with their God. So a lot of them are scared to get older, so they stay on to the youth age and act like a young person because they're scared to death that they don't know where the hell they're going. Because a lot of people are living in the world and they're living wrong and they forgot who actually created this world, who owns this world. And there will be a place after this place. But a lot of people ain't going to that place because a lot of them live so into the world that they forgot their God. There are a lot of people that don't have no relationship or don't even know their God because they're so caught up in what the world say and do. They ain't looking for acceptance from the world, but they're not looking for acceptance from their creator, which is crazy when you think about that. You think I give a damn about what some human think about me? You think I give a damn? I give a damn about what God thinks about me. Because at the end of the day, that's the only person that can judge me. Ain't no human can judge me. I don't care. I don't care. And the reason why I don't care, because I already made right with my creator. And once you make right with your creator, you accept anything that comes with it. One thing God said to me, we had a great conversation, you know what he said? He said, you want more. And this is what he said to me. You want more. I'm gonna make it hard for you. I'm gonna make it hard for you. And the reason why he said that to me, because he said, I'm gonna give my toughest battle to my strongest warrior. I know you're a strong warrior, and I'm gonna make it hard for you. And the reason why I'm gonna make it hard for you, because I want you to impact so many lives on your way to getting there. I want you to look back and say, I appreciate all the hard days, the long nights, the sacrificing, the days of losing sleep. I want you to look back and be like, I can give somebody that testimony, and when they hear it from your mouth, they know you mean it. You can't save the world without testimony. You can't teach nobody when you haven't learned nothing. You can't stay focused when you're in a world of delusion and distractions. There are a lot of people that need to remove yourself from all these distractions. A lot of people are distractions. When a lot of people complain about social media, I say, because you're utilizing it for the wrong reasons. Listen, you can easily start blocking out the noise. Every time you see something that you don't like, guess what you do? Hold it, mute it. I don't want to see it. I'm going to be honest with you. I got people that I follow, I muted them. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I got love for them, but guess what? They doing too much foolishness that I'm not into. I'm not into it. I had one guy, and I'm going to say, I don't care, he get mad. He be posting fruity stuff online, and I'm like, fair, you got to remember, you got men watching you, men following you. So I had to kick him off my page. He don't think that he has men. Okay, you work out, yes, but you're sitting in your drawers. You know, like, come on, fam. Men don't want to see that, brother. And you could tell him I said it, because I know how to fight. But again, as a man, we don't do that. You have to be mindful of what you're posting online. Because again, if you got people following, you got to understand that people see the nonsense too. And we have a right to not have to see that, especially when you want me to follow you. No self-awareness. Read the room, brother. I'm saying you don't notice your following is going down, especially all the men, because you post weird. Come on, brother. I'm a man, and I'm a confident man. I'm a proud man. I'm saying ain't no arch in my back. I stand up 10 toes down, spine straight. It is what it is. And I don't knock nobody, but again, that's me. So if a person can tell you their preference, I tell you mine. Heterosexual male, all day. And again, we got to get back to this delusion, getting us out of this world. I'm starting to see more men act more feminine than ever. More men are starting to act so feminine. This generation is so feminine. You tell these dudes anything, the first thing they do is want to go get their weapon and hurt you. They want to get their weapon and they get in prison, they get beat up every day. Because they ain't got no knuckles. They can't fight. You know what I'm saying? They're scared to take a loss. Yo, the one thing I always say, and the beautiful thing about my generation, anybody that's my generation, let's call it what it is. We never laughed at you for losing. We laughed at you for not fighting back. Whatever happened to that? I miss that generation where we laughed at the person that didn't fight back. You could have got whipped, but you fought. And we respected that because it's about heart. I'd rather stand there with 10 lions than 100 sheep. I'd rather stand there with somebody that's going to lose, but he ain't going to run. I'd rather be there with somebody like that. Some people, they'd rather look like they got 1,000 people around them, but guess what? There's 1,000 people who ain't willing to help you out. You got a lot of people that know a lot of people. Look at your contacts. When it comes to making a phone call, can you get any help? I'm gonna say that again. Everybody got a phone and their phone has contacts. But the sad part is when you go from A to Z in your contacts, there is nobody that's willing that you can hit send to and they're willing to give you a helping hand. That's a goddamn shame because you don't know your own goddamn value. Because you lower your value to have relationships with people that don't add value to you, nor do you add value to these people. Because if it was a healthy relationship, it's about adding value to each other. So if a person's not adding value to me, why would they have access to me? You don't add no value to me. I don't even go around people that don't give me no value. I don't care. It don't have to be money. It don't have to be monetary. It could be something like a conversation. Yo, did you see such and such? There's a new stock that you should take a look at. These are the people I want to have conversations with. I don't want to talk to people that's still talking about what's keeping us in the same positioning. He said, she said drama. I don't want to talk about that. And this generation is heavy on it. Heavy on the gossip. You order your meal at McDonald's and a side of gossip. What you want to drink, sir? Gossip. And these dudes gossip just like, they don't be just throwing women under the bus. These dudes gossip just like women. They gossip like women. Nothing else to do. You got a whole 24 hours went by and you've done nothing to make your life better. Think about that. 24 hours went by and you've done nothing to make your life better. I got people that say they got a business and they go whole days without doing anything on their business. Whole weeks. You have a whole week go by, you did nothing to make the situation better. And you don't see you the problem? I'm gonna say that to my team. If a whole day go by and you've done nothing to advance the situation, you are the problem. You are the problem. It's 4 of us. So if it's 4 people, after 4, it's to a quarter. So if we can split 25% of my energy, 25% of the energy, 25% of the energy, we just made 100 goddamn percent. If 25% is coming from you every day, 25, 25, 25, we just made a whole goddamn dollar. That's a mentality. That's a mentality. One thing I realize is teamwork will always make the dream work, but without the team, it won't work. Sometimes God slows up the vision because the vision is not moving fast enough. He wants y'all to really want it. He wants to see. And I'm going to tell you something funny. When things start happening, people think it happened overnight. But they don't see the sacrifices and the years of commitment and discipline it took you to get to them levels. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm willing to go into that dark tunnel. And I'll walk in that dark tunnel. I don't care how many miles it's going to take before I see light again. But guess what, Dre? I'm going to walk in that goddamn tunnel. And I'm going to walk through that tunnel, even if I'm by my goddamn self, I'm going to walk in that goddamn tunnel because I know at the end of that goddamn tunnel, I will see the light. Some people are scared to even start the journey of the tunnel. So they sit in darkness forever. Not realizing at the end of that tunnel, that's where the success is. Because again, a person will never be happy when they're not progressing towards the best version of themselves. You'll never be happy until you start progressing towards the best version of yourself. Because it's a person in everybody's head that we see about ourselves that if you don't work on becoming, you're going to always hate the person that you are. Because you're not meant to be that person. That's why people are miserable, because you're sitting at a same space being someone you're not meant to be. You're not meant to be this person. The person you're meant to be is that person that's in your head. That person that you see in your head is what you're meant to be. But it takes a lot of time to get there. Because the same way you've dug yourself in the hole, you got to dig yourself out. A lot of people have dug themselves in a hole, and they're comfortable staying in this goddamn hole. But it's time you say enough. It's time you say, it's time for me to get out of this goddamn hole. It's time for me to get out of these goddamn excuses. It's time for me being consistently doing what's wrong that's actually preserving me in the same positioning. There's time for you to say, you know what? If I keep lying to myself, I'm going to believe the lie. And then the lie is going to become my truth, because guess what? A lie becomes the truth to the mouth that keeps telling it. A lie becomes a truth to the ears that keep telling it. The more you tell yourself a lie, the more you're going to believe your own lie. The world is not against us. God don't wake up and say, I'm going to give your life hell. He said, I'm going to shake up your life until you realize that it's you that got to take back your life. I know you're destined for greatness. I know you can do more. But you're going to do so much less and still want more. You got to be selfish. That's like the person that go to the buffet and put mad food on their plate and knowing damn well they can't even eat all that food. It's too much. But again, sometimes you got to be able to delegate. I got to find a person to do this. I got to find a person to do that. I got to find a person to do this. And now you start seeing visions come together. Things will never happen until you realize the only person that can make it happen is you. Things will never change until you realize that the only person that can change you is you. I'm going to tell you something. Sitting there at a place waiting for a bus and it's not a bus stop is crazy. Think about that. Sitting at a bus stop. That's not a bus stop, but you still expect the bus to come get you. That's what a lot of people are doing right now. They're sitting at a stop, waiting for someone to pick them up, and it's never gonna happen. And the only person that can change your life is you. They say when a person gets tired is when they get motivated. And until somebody get tired, they're gonna continue to do the same thing. I'm sitting here as a witness or a testimony to, I got tired. I got tired of making excuses. I got tired of complaining about my life. I got tired of running from myself. Because I'm gonna tell you, some of y'all are Olympic sprinters because y'all run from yourself like a mother. And y'all running. And y'all constantly running. Somebody need to take back their life today and said enough is enough. I'ma do more. I'ma commit myself. I'ma sacrifice. I don't care what others are doing. I'ma care about what I'm not doing. I'ma spend my energy on worrying about what I need to do. Because the more energy I spend on worrying about others, is the more I'm spending less on myself. So when you keep giving your energy to other people, you're losing energy on yourself. To this generation today, y'all gotta wake up and see that the problem is not the world. The problem is yourself. And until you become accountable, you're gonna keep making an excuse for the constant decisions that you're making. Sometimes in life, you gotta realize things don't happen to you. They actually happen for you. Till next time, guys, don't let that go over your head.